in some ceremonious way, like right up here, and see if that helps. Does that help the vocal quality for you, Chunt?
It does, and it looks like you're holding like a fancy wine glass that we're going to chat.
Does it help? Is
We're
it
not
fruity?
drinking, but God, we feel like it.
Yeah, it's about this E3 chats. Yeah, it's very fancy.
Yes, but
E3.
we'll leave the microphone in a normal place as long as it's picking our words up. That's the important thing. So, as you said, Chunt, we're heading into E3 tomorrow. You're not here.
Hey.
You're not here.
No. Apparently, distance is a factor.
Distance. I got some distance.
Hey, well, I just moved house. As you can see, there's still shit everywhere. It's not put away properly yet, and I can't just throw down a grand or so on Bond and then jump on another plane. Unfortunately, I'm not made of money. Which
I thought that your head was like made of money. I thought it was producing money.
Oh, I wish that'd be nice.
You like
this head?
out and stuff.
If only, that'd be a great world to live in.
Well, yeah. Sadly, you're not here. Dan is here.
No.
Dan,
yes,
he doesn't actually have as far to travel as you would. I think you're a bit further away, but
yeah.
It's
definitely
in the middle of nowhere in Queensland somewhere.
Definitely cheaper, Chunt.
Yeah, we looked everywhere. You down here, and you just can't do it for like normal money. I can fly to Bali cheaper. Than I can fly you down here.
Exactly, I had a look just out of curiosity, and just recently, and I was like, man, I could go to New Zealand and back for the price to fly down to Sydney for a couple of days. It's just insane.
We'll have to make do with virtual video, Chunt, for now.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll make do.
So the night before the electronic triple E3, our favorite Christmas time of the year, even though it's not Christmas.
E cubed.
Squared.
Yes, I'm excited.
It's cubed.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 conferences tomorrow, Dan. We're getting up at 6 a.m. to watch EA, and then 11 a.m. we've got Bethesda.
Yes.
So we've talked about this shit all day. So Chunt, we're pretty excited to see what you want to see coming out of each of those. So let's go time-wise. EA go up first. What does Uncle Chunt want to see from EA Games?
Well, to be honest, I don't actually play just not as a rule, but just because most of the games they bring out aren't for me. But the only real one that I'm kind of keen to look at is Titanfall 2. That's still EA, right?
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed the first Titanfall, even though it had its problems. And most people know if they watch regularly or know me in general, I'm not a massive multiplayer online person. And because that one has pretty much had to be online to do anything, even for the pseudo campaign, I still got fun of it. So I'm keen to see what they'll do for Titanfall 2, if they'll show. I want to see them show a proper campaign, like they're putting a proper campaign in this game. If they do that, I will buy this game. If not, if it's going to be like Titanfall 1, I'll pass.
A proper campaign. Are you talking Call of Duty size? Are you talking Doom size?
Yeah, just like a legit campaign, like solid 8 hours at least. Just, I want a fun campaign, the single player that I can play through, or co-op if it has to be. That'd be nice as well. I don't want to have another pseudo campaign. Like you play a story online with other players. That's not what I want to see. And a lot of people complain about that. So if they want to listen to people and give them what they want and make this a new franchise to make it work, I would think they would want to pander to those suggestions and criticisms of the first one and do this one right. I think it's an awesome concept, and I'd love to see this franchise do well because I really enjoyed it, and the mechs and everything and the combat. It's really fun. So if they show Titanfall 2 and it makes me happy, that's cool. And we're not going to see it, but a Dante's Inferno 2, I'd be all right for that.
That's the most random thing you could have asked for. Would never have picked Dante's Inferno 2.
Yeah, well,
So
I
speaking
enjoyed the
of
first one.
hyperbole, what would you want to see from a Dante's Inferno 2?
Well, clearly sequel. I mean, I don't want to spoil. People that would have played it by now, but I don't want to spoil anything about the game. I don't know. I'd just like to see a continuation of this guy. He's because he was in the Crusaders and all that kind of stuff, the Crusades back in the day, and I'd like to see more of that kind of explored. And he went through this, was it 7 levels of hell or whatever it is? That was pretty cool. But maybe if it was like not the same guy, but maybe another fella who was in line with him through the Crusades, or was a personal friend or something. I don't know. Like, I haven't really thought about it a lot, but just over the years since the game came out and came and went, I was like, man, I really like that. I'd like to play another one. But given how the game went, I don't know how they'd actually do it, but I'm sure they could make it work.
It seems like a long, long time since Dante's Inferno come out. It was like first or second year 360, wasn't it? It was very early life cycle.
Really early.
Yeah, true. Still.
So Dan, we've been talking about it most of the day. It seems like we're both kind of sat on the what the hell are we going to see Star Wars from EA?
Star Wars. And something I didn't mention when I was talking to you earlier in the day, I think Battlefront stuff will be saved for Sony.
Each press conference as opposed to EA's.
Yeah, just because they're probably going to have some VR thing for that as well and some DLC. So I don't think a lot will be said at the EA bit, but we were talking today about what Star Wars stuff they will show. And we both had this idea of, one, there's the other team from the people that made
Respawn.
Yeah, Respawn have another team who are working on a third-person action-adventure Star Wars game. Then you have the Visceral team who make the Dead Space games with Amy Hennig writing a third-person action-adventure game. I think we're going to get them talking about the Visceral game but not show anything.
But what about Respawn? I think we still have to see we need to see new IP, and I think that Visceral's is probably far more into development than Respawn's.
I think Respawn's closer, to be honest.
It'll be interesting to see. We've got to see something Star Wars that's not Battlefront. That's a given. Yeah. Chunt, if we were to see something Star Wars, which would you be more inclined to see, and what do you want them to do with it?
Well, I want another. If they can't do another KOTOR, at least I'd like to see another Jedi Knight Academy type game. One of those third-person action Jedi games. That'd be rad. But it wouldn't surprise me if they swiped everybody and was like, hey, here's that, was it that 13, 14, whatever that game was called, that Boba Fett type game? Can't remember what it's called. Because they've got a lot of that assets made for that game. It would be just, I think they would be remiss not to actually pick that up and try and at least finish it and release it just to kind of recoup something, considering how far along it went. So that wouldn't surprise me if they just went surprise. But yeah, otherwise, something Jedi with hack and slash, that'd be sweet. So, like, just to touch on that, the Episode 3 game, Star Wars Episode 3, the game for that, I actually really enjoyed. I thought it kicked ass. Like, something like that would be cool. Like an adventure game of that.
Great game. And I like the little sort of, it had like a Mortal Kombat-esque kind of character versus character little side game as well, didn't it? Episode 3. Where you could unlock different Jedis and then have like showdown.
Yep.
Yeah, we agreed earlier. That's exactly what we were talking about. We were saying, are they going to? Because there was rumors that it was Nolan North that had said that Amy Hennig was working on rebooting a Star Wars franchise. Which then you go, well, you've got the Jedi Outcast stuff, you've got the Force Unleashed, you've got Knights of the Old Republic, but which way is it going to go? And we said both at Jedi Outcast as well.
Academy. We thought, I think Jedi Academy will lend itself more towards Visceral.
Yeah.
As opposed to Respawn. I think Respawn is going to do something multiplayer driven in some way. I don't know how they're going to do that as a third-person action adventure.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Very strange.
They might even do like a first-person shooter game with stormtroopers or something.
Well, they've already said it's third-person action. Like they've already.
So that's what the 1313 thing was, a bounty hunter tie-in, right? And it seems like, given that we get Rogue One this year, are they going to lean very heavily on that? Maybe not necessarily this coming Christmas, but when that comes out, say DVD, May the 4th next year or whenever that actually comes. That could be an interesting tie-in for them, because I don't think it's ready for now. Do you think there's any chance we see it released this year?
I think there's no chance. But
so the only Star Wars thing we're going to get this year is Battlefront DLC. Is that where do we all kind of sit on that precipice?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, these other ones have been in development for a while. It just really wouldn't surprise me for them to be like, drop, here's another one.
Yeah, so it's which of the two would be that ready? But I don't think there's no way Respawn have got it ready. Not when they only upscaled after the success of Titanfall. They're a very small team prior to Titanfall launch.
That's probably all they've been working on anyway.
And we'll have Battlefront 2 coming next year as well. So there's no point in them releasing another one next year. So they've given themselves some time to get those other ones done.
Yeah,
probably leaning towards the Visceral then.
Well, we'll find out in some close hours. I'm very excited for the EA Sports stuff. I was mentioning this in our group chat the other day. The fact that FIFA has moved, why it's moved to Frostbite, who knows? Who cares? It's going to look ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to look
destructive stadiums. We can start, putting terror attacks on stadiums if that's your bag.
That was my call. You can see right after a goal's been scored.
People falling over, and if your player runs into the announce boards and they just like blow up and stuff, it'd be pretty mental. But no, on an all serious note, like the FIFA franchises needed an engine overhaul for a long time, and a proper one, because they did Ignite, and Ignite was it was built on the basis of their old engine. This looks like they'll actually take the engine that's being used by DICE and by Visceral and go, right, here's Frostbite, let's make a fucking sports game.
And just for the other sports games too, it's going to be interesting if all of them eventually, whether it's this year or not, are going to follow suit as well. Because the same thing happened with Madden. Madden used the Ignite engine as well.
Just see what happens with it. But so I'm really excited for that. So EA have got me on the hook. I think they could steamroll E3 if they announce all the right things and all the right places.
That's the big one.
Exactly.
Mass Effect. That's going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
Early, I think we'll get gameplay for Mass Effect. We're obviously not seeing it until early next year. What have they said? Q1 of next year. Yeah. So the last quarter of their financial year, which is to April, I think. So that'll be interesting. That could land right smack bang in the water of some big games from some other people who we'll talk about in a little while.
Yeah, but I want to see what they're doing different too. Like we were talking about customization earlier. Like, how much customization can you do? What are these different planets you're going to visit?
If you look at what they did with even like Dragon Age, so the BioWare team have done with Dragon Age, where you've got that kind of loot and grind-esque kind of thing, I think that could pay off in a Mass Effect. So, like you clear out a space or you save some enemies, kill some enemies to protect everybody, and then there's a loot cache at the end of it, or I don't know how it quite look, because it's very easy in Dragon Age to have a treasure chest.
Oh, I don't want that.
Or a loot box. But what would you have in Mass Effect? But you see, on the same kind of concept where you are rewarded with awesome gear for.
Well, we already know we're getting the Mako back, right? So they're talking about probably more exploration on these different planets and going to
mining resources.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky.
But it leaves you for that type of thing of going and finding things, exploring and collecting stuff more than what you probably could in.
Which I don't see why there's any reason. Like I said, that can't be either technology or resources that can be harnessed to improve your character's armor or stats. But at the same time, your ship. But at the same time, why can't you just straight up you find some dead guy who's carrying advanced upgrades of the armor that you're wearing, and you kind of take it from him. We'll see, but Mass Effect's I think that's their showstopper. It has to be.
Yeah.
And hopefully they go, and when this is done, this is what BioWare are doing next. And Knights of the Old Republic.
That's another Star Wars thing.
Yeah, but just reboot it. I think if there's anything that's going to get rebooted or remastered, that's one of the best Star Wars stories ever told in video game format, if not the best. So.
Remaster, maybe. Not reboot, because I think they're going to make a movie and they don't want to tread.
They don't want to change too much of the source material.
Because it's all canon. If it's a storytelling thing, it's all canon. So.
Well, that's EA at E3.
Yeah.
Chunt, have you anything else to add to EA before we move on?
Well, I'm not sure if, as much as I'd like to see another KOTOR, but if they've got BioWare doing Mass Effect, which is the whole reason why they really wanted to do Mass Effect was because they're like, well, we could do another Knights of the Old Republic, or we could just go make our own Star Wars type universe. So if they're just doing Mass Effect, and then EA's like, we want you to do another Knights of the Old Republic, and they could just be like, well, how about we just do another Mass Effect? You know, like they're already kind of doing a Star Wars type universe type RPG game. I just don't think they would do it. Just in my point of view, as much as I'd love to see another one, maybe get another developer do it. I'd like to see that. If I had to choose between Star Wars and Mass Effect, I would choose Mass Effect only because it's an original IP that I would like to see that universe continue. There's an overabundance of Star Wars stuff everywhere that you can find. I would hate for Mass Effect to suffer in that regard. But yeah, as far as EA goes, I'm not really too excited about anything else. As I said earlier, I don't really play a lot of EA games. It just turns out that way.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you to some extent. I don't want to see all of EA's studios just become like spit studios for Star Wars content, because there's enough talent there to do something else. And there is rumors of a brand new IP it may not be Star Wars. Like we don't know. It could be anything. We're just assuming that it could be.
Yeah.
So those guys are at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for anyone in Australia and whoever the hell is getting up at 6 a.m. on public holiday Monday to watch a press conference. If you're not, we're probably the only two people, to be fair.
Oh man, if I didn't need my job, I just wouldn't go into work this week and just watch all this stuff.
That was my logic, and I'm not going into work this week. So we'll move out of EA into Bethesda. Another interesting, chunky pre-E3 show. They did a fucking good job last year. So how do you one up that? Chunt, how do you one up it?
Oh man, well they kind of got me all giddy and excited when they announced legit Fallout 4 with a Pip-Boy. I was like, fuck yeah, I wanted a Pip-Boy for ages, and then they gave it to me. And like the rest of the conference was cool and stuff, but that was the main thing that got me excited. But this year, I really just want to see another Elder Scrolls, like a legit one. Not Elder Scrolls Online nonsense or anything else. Just give me a confirmation of the next mainline Elder Scrolls game, and to me that will be a success if it's good.
Where Elder Scrolls is concerned, I was talking to Dan about this earlier. There are increasing rumors, and there is every year, there has been for the last 3 years, that Skyrim will get a definitive edition on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. I think if they do that, they drop it tomorrow. I think they just go and it's available now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that would be a game you'd have to get at the retailers, wouldn't it?
No, I think it'd be a download only. Why they wouldn't need to? It'd be cut price. It'd be $30 or $40. It wouldn't be a full retail price game. And then you can just stick it on the store and go, hey, you can download it on PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Steam.
Unless it was digital only first, and then like next month it was physical or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because if
I would want a physical copy.
If it had gone disc based, there's no way it'd have been kept quiet. Someone would have leaked that it is an official thing. But I wouldn't rule it out, and I'd be very happy. I'd download it straight away. I'd buy it again and download it straight away if that was the case. But yeah, with an Elder Scrolls 6. I think we might get a teaser. I think a lot of people are assuming that it's way, way, way off. I think it's way off. I don't think it's 4 or 5 years away. It's maybe, 2, maybe 3 years away. If we look at the life cycle of the games.
Probably to the end of the life cycle. It would be one of those games that are like BioShock Infinite was, like The Last of Us was, like right at the end. Last year, maybe year and a half.
Well, if it's going that far down, I don't think they would announce it now. That'd be way too early.
Yeah, and that's where it's difficult to kind of judge just how close it is. Because when you look at the time difference between Fallout 3 and Skyrim, there's a couple of years. So if we go on the fact that Fallout 4 came out last year, that would put us a couple of years away from Elder Scrolls 6. And the fact that people are starting to find code names for the project, like in source files even in Fallout and stuff. Like, it's very, very strange. But I want to see something from it. I agree. I don't want to see that card game. I don't want to see the Elder Scrolls Heroes or whatever the hell it was called. Don't want to see that. Elder Scrolls Online's had a massive... We'll see something from that because they've launched 2 DLCs this year. They've launched the Thieves Guild stuff, and they've launched the what's it called, Dark Brotherhood. They've dropped both of them in the last 6 months. So we will see something from that, even if it's them just going, hey, we have this many active players now, and remember that everything's still free to play. And like, if you bought the game, you don't have to pay a subscription. And I think they'll reiterate the fact. But pulling the Elder Scrolls out of it, Dishonored has to be the big focus this year, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to see gameplay, probably more specifically from the female character as well. Because
she's the chick out of the first game, right? She's the little kid.
Yeah, but they're both playable. You can play as both the guy and the girl as well.
Have they confirmed that who or what the guy is yet? It's not Corvo, is it?
I think it is the same guy, though.
If it's still Corvo, he's been training her. I thought that was the situation.
And she's going to have different abilities to what he does, I believe, too. So I reckon we're going to see something about that.
It's going to be very similar to Assassin's Creed. And Chunt, you played Syndicate, and the kind of switching between the sort of male and female characters, and they did play different. Do you think that'll happen with Dishonored?
Well, I think that would be a clever way to go for that franchise. Just as far as the assassin type role, I think it's good to kind of give the dual side story going for that type of game. Like, it really works for Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I've felt. Jacob and Evie were 2 very different characters, even though their movesets felt very much the same, but the attacks and weapons and stuff, they pretty much played the same until you customize them both to being Evie more stealthy and Jacob being more of a attacker, brawler type guy, and then it felt like a different type of game style between the 2. But as far as Dishonored goes, I wasn't really too excited on the first one, but from what I've seen so far about Dishonored 2, like, it looks cool, looks exciting, and if they do go that route as well, I think that would make a lot of sense. It's open world, right? Like, you can choose to play male or female, and it's open world. Do you know anything more than that? Like, is it story driven for one character only?
It's story driven for both, but at the same time, I'm not sure of the ins and outs. I don't think they've really said how, just that they're both playable. Whether that's in a kind of certain aspects and certain missions you have to play as one or the other, or whether you free reign to play the entire game as one or the entire game as the other. I either don't remember or it wasn't said.
Yeah, I think
it was like that.
I think they've mentioned something in an interview about the world, like in terms of the maps, maybe being a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger, just more different ways to get to your target. But
yeah, I think it will be the core focus, and as Dan said, I think we'll see gameplay. We'll get a release date, and I think it might be November. I think that might be their big release for the year. If they drop, as I said, a definitive Skyrim edition, it's tomorrow, or it's E3 week. It's through the week. Anything from Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein's the other thing that's really knocking around is, have they managed to finish a second one yet?
Well, Wolfenstein or Quake, isn't that the...
Yeah, but I don't think they'd...
It's too early for Quake.
Too early for Quake, yeah, because fair enough, like Machine Games did Wolfenstein, and id stuck with Doom. I think that if you're going to do Quake, you have to have you've got to have faith that someone is going to do it properly, because otherwise the backlash would be as bad as if Doom sucked.
Wolfenstein was quite successful, wasn't it?
That's what I mean, and Doom was successful too, so I get where you're coming from. They should go at Quake, but I think Wolfenstein, an iteration is more likely.
Yeah, I think Wolfenstein's the safe bet to have, especially because the what is it? The Old Blood, is that the? They
did Wolfenstein, and then the Old Blood was the DLC, wasn't it?
Yeah, and apparently that did really, really well as well. So,
I don't think id Software is doing anything right now. I mean, they spent 8 years making Doom twice, so I don't see them being ready to announce another game.
Yeah, I think they'll stick with Doom. I think they'll stick. I think this has got a good enough critical reception that they'll just move on to they'll do the DLC because it's got a season pass.
Yeah.
and then probably move on to a second Doom game. But I don't know if there'd be any red herrings from them. Do you think there's anything they may be keeping up their sleeve? Like Fallout Shelter was the up the sleeve thing last year. Like, what the hell? Like, you've done a mobile game and it doesn't suck.
I mean, Doom's also a game that isn't relying on the multiplayer aspect of the game to keep it going, right?
No, because that's average.
But, like, you know, the single player campaign is lengthy. You can have that for a certain period of time, and people probably generally aren't buying it for the multiplayer. So you can have the season pass, you can release 1, maybe 2 DLC, maybe 4 months down the road, 6 months down the road.
I think they'd be story focused though.
Yeah, and then yeah, just move on to Doom 2. People aren't going to be expecting support for this game for, you know, years and years. Like,
they'll get a second. Yeah, they'll just get a second iteration. Chunt, do you think they've got anything else up their sleeve? Do you think there's anything that they can turn around and go, oh, by the way, what about this?
Anything you want to see?
I want to see, yeah.
From Bethesda. Not really, hey. Like, I mean, as far as like the Skyrim HD thing goes, I'm a bit apprehensive on that. I would be satisfied with just Xbox One backwards compatibility and just put my disc in. I just don't think they would be using their resources to up-res that game and try and bring out better textures or just remaster the thing. I mean, they might be able to allot resources to make that happen, but I don't think that they would be the kind of studio to do that.
They wouldn't actually need too many resources to do it, because there was an official texture pack already done on PC, and if you can actually
bring it out to
that, and they have already. They said numerous times they ported Skyrim to Xbox One to make the mod thing work. You know, the Fallout 4 mods.
Oh yes, that's right. I remember reading about that.
The job's already been done, and if they can actually include mods as part of it, so that the PS4 and Xbox One get mods,
that'd be easy money for them.
Res texture, it's easy money to make, and they've done the legwork already. So
yeah, well, in that case, yeah, I mean, I think that would, for me personally, if it was like a reasonable price, like you're saying, like maybe $30-40 or something like that, I'd probably throw down money for a digital download. I'd prefer physical, just it's my preference at the moment. But I don't know, like as far as anything else Bethesda's got going, like I'm pretty choosy as far as my first person experiences go, not just with shooters. So I mean, I'm not really keen for Dishonored, and I didn't play Wolfenstein. So if it's just more first person games, I've had my fill of that stuff. Like Fallout 4 and Halo is fine by me. And Doom now, like I've still got to finish that between all my other shit that I've been trying to do. So like, if they announce any more games that are first person experiences, I'd just be like, cool, I'm not going to buy it. But as long as it's more games coming out, I'm sure someone will be excited.
Yeah, I don't think I'd foresee anything else. If the Elder Scrolls stuff happens, cool. I'd be very, very happy. I think Fallout and Elder Scrolls are obviously their marquee titles, so that's the things we all want to hear about. I also don't think they'd be putting a conference on just to show us, say, Dishonored and DLC for maybe Fallout. They've got something up their sleeve, but it's which way they go with it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're doing one this year after
how good the one last year was.
Last year was so good, and I thought that was just kind of
a one-off,
a knockoff blow, and then we'll see you again in 3 years or 4 years or something. And I think
what about an Evil Within sequel?
That's a good call.
I'd not even considered the Evil Within.
That's done it ridiculously well.
And how long has it been since that was? 2 years?
Yeah, 2013.
No, really? Already? Far
it was
out.
It was quite close to the start of the life cycle. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, announced, and that will come out next year, I think.
So that could be it. You could have just nailed one on the head there, Chunt. So we come out of tomorrow into the wee hours of the morning.
That's really early.
And we'll see how we go against Microsoft, because it goes Microsoft, Ubisoft, Sony, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft, what are Microsoft doing?
I'm going to
go to you as the Sony fanboy.
I'm really excited to actually see what, because we already know the length of games that are coming out till pretty much the first quarter of 2017.
Mhm.
And I reckon they'll announce something that will be the end of next year, because we're not going to get another Halo next year.
Halo Wars.
We got Gears this year, so I think they're going to tease something big.
Yeah.
I mean, as in Microsoft paid a lot of money to some second party to make them a game. I just don't know
which second party it'd be. Yeah, it's a strange one in terms of like the games catalog that they've got. So Recore is something that they're going, oh, this is a new franchise for us. It's not just a one-off.
But that's not going to be.
That's not going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be enormous. I think it'd be much more of a linear story, third-person action adventure kind of thing. Halo Wars 2, that has already been confirmed that it's going to go into beta E3 week. So we're going to see something from that. Probably we'll see the beta game.
That's tomorrow, June 13th or something. I think
yeah,
that's all.
It's the same day. So that's going to happen. I don't know if it's it is far too early to show anything of Halo 6. Far too early, because you'd figure that that's a long way away. Gears will get a hell of a spotlight.
Yeah.
And then it is whatever other partnerships they do. I think that Battlefield might see some exposure, just with
if Call of Duty is
at Sony. I don't think you can put Call of Duty and Battlefield in the same conference with Sony. I don't think Activision are going to like that one bit. And since they're such good friends with Sony these days, they're not going to want to piss them off. So I think you see Battlefield, you see a new IP, if not two. You see two new things.
You get a lot of small stuff.
Yeah, the idea Xbox stuff will get a big push again. And we were actually talking earlier. Chunt, do you remember that game? I can't forget what it's called now. We the few.
Oh,
we the many few. Or we many few. However, it actually strung together. So it's got a release date for June 2016 on Xbox and Steam, with no day. Just June 2016. There isn't a day. So I'm thinking that could be a shoo-in for and it's available now.
Yeah.
Do you guys think we'll get an Oculus Microsoft partnership?
Yes. And I think Xbox Scorpio is the key to it. I think it can power an Oculus, and I think that's how they're going to market it as the high-end Xbox console. It will work. It will support Oculus Rift games.
Chunt,
do you believe that the Scorpio will come out this year?
No, not a chance.
No, I don't think it'll be out this year at all. Considering I don't think it'll get the Scorpio SKU out this year at all either. That'll probably be next year, if anything, I reckon. Next E3. We'll see it revealed, and it might be released next year late. I don't really care if they're late to the party for VR, actually. To me, that kind of makes sense to give VR time. And if Microsoft want to make a good run at it, they'll allow the time for it to get good before they actually show anything. So yeah, announce a Scorpio, cool, but just make it quick. Go, yeah, we're doing it. We're partnering with Oculus. End of. Next topic. I don't know. I see a lot of. I think they're going to push Sea of Thieves hard. I think one of the new IPs that they'll probably announce will be a Battletoads game. Phil Spencer's been dropping a lot of Battletoads references and hints in the last 6 or 8 months. Obviously Gears 4 is going to be massive. They're going to push that hard. That's clear, and I can't wait to eat it up. I think we're going to see Crackdown and probably get a confirmation of a date and see more gameplay. Recore, I hope it's more. I don't mind if Recore is linear. What I felt Recore was, we don't really know anything about it. To me, it might even turn out to be like a Metroidvania type game. If that's the case, I'm down with that. If it's like a third-person type experience. Recore, Scalebound. I want to see more Scalebound. I want to see how that's progressing. It wouldn't surprise me if they went quiet on it though, but because those two got pushed into next year, regardless. So even if we do see it on stage or anything with it, it's still going to be like, and it's due next year. Like, I think they might want to try and show some more releases that are coming out for holiday. Like, those are the main games I'm kind of excited to see. New IPs would be great. That's great. Throw more at us. I'm just surprised at the amount of new IPs that Microsoft are pushing. it's good to see, because I think they know that, okay, we can't really just flog Halo and Gears every year or every 2 years. I think they've kind of finally realized, okay, we need to get some new ground going. And I'm really excited for Microsoft's conference in general, not just as a Microsoft Xbox fanboy, but just because that's my chosen platform, and I want to see some cool shit coming. So yeah, overall, man, I can't wait to wake up, come to work, and go home, and then watch the damn thing. That's tomorrow, hey?
No, that'll be Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, balls! God, right.
And that's the only reason I think there's going to be another big IP, because I think you can open with Gears and then close with a new brand.
Or even if they brought something in exclusively, do you know, like an existing franchise, and then it's like like with Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Or do another partnership with someone.
We've got a partnership that's
Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Time Splitters 3. Next.
Because everybody wants to see that.
No. Blinks the Time Sweeper.
We can't talk about Microsoft without discussing the whole console thing. I'm worried. I'm very worried that whilst the uniting the platforms of Windows 10 and Xbox that's their plan, none of us are going to be able to stop that. But I am desperately worried by it, because how long until an Xbox is basically just a glorified PC? There are rumors of, that they may even just install Xbox to PC. So when you open the app, you can actually run Xbox games through it. It'll become a games client, much like Steam. And you'll have, if you were playing on Xbox Chunt and I was playing on my PC, and we were both I was in the Xbox app, I could still start a party chat with you. We could still play games together. It's becoming a complete kind of circle. And if you watch what they've actually teased to be doing with this summer's software update, that looks even more likely. Like, that is something they're integrating, party chat across Windows and Xbox. Cortana's coming to Xbox. Like, it's quickly becoming just one platform. I don't know how cool I am with that.
Why not?
Yeah, it doesn't sound that horrible.
But the more...
I mean, I would personally sit on the couch and I play in front of the television. Like, that's how I play. And I think whatever happens on the back end, I wouldn't care as long as I can still do that. Don't take it away from me. That's all that I would be worried about. If they take that
as
away.
long as they don't leave us console players out to dry.
That's kind of what I was getting at. How long before? Because this all goes with talk of having then modular consoles going forward, or having that sort of semi-upgrade in a console generation, which a lot of people are already starting to, show distrust in. And it's not even been confirmed by anyone yet that it's happening, but everybody's straight up going, no, we don't want that. I invested in this box and it's going to last me 6-7 years. I'm afraid not. That's not the technological world that we live in right now. Like, the world we live in, we need to upgrade technology every year, every 2 years. But I was just curious to hear your thoughts, John. If you're cool with it, that's surprising. I expected you to kind of... I get what you mean by...
it just depends. It depends on... Yeah, no, it just depends on what I'm cool with and how they present it. That will determine my opinion. If they, just for argument's sake, they're like, okay, this is the road we're going. We're not doing consoles anymore. You now have to move to your computer. I'll kind of be like, well, fuck me in the ass. Like, that would just piss me right off. Mainly because my entire gaming life and experience has been cool, couch, TV, console, just chill. Don't have to worry about crap. Just put it in play. I don't want to have to go the modular out and upgrade a box every 6 or 8 months or whatever just to play a new game at the best specs. I know, like, what you're saying. That's the world we live in. Technology's moving fast, and to keep up and blah blah blah. But I think there's a lot to keep in mind as far as with consoles go. I don't think they're that obsolete yet. And even if they had to release a better spec one every 2 or 3 years, even then, like, I might even be open to that, because I could just trade my console in towards it or something. I don't know. I don't want to be left high and dry as a console player. I just don't want that to go away. Maybe that's just because I'm 30 years old and I don't want to learn new tricks as far as my gaming experiences go. So it depends, man. If they make it accessible and it's like, here's an Xbox branded console, but you can take it apart and put new Xbox gear in or something. I don't know if they're going to go down that route or just say, look, just go buy yourself a $50 PC case and put some hardware in it and then play your games. I don't know.
That's what I mean. It's a very thin line, right? When you start making things modular, you essentially are then a PC. And when you get to that point, is it just the fact that both PlayStation and Xbox literally just become services? And this is what I mean by they're already starting to tease it out by having the Xbox app on Windows 10. Do you know what I mean? And the more integration that gets, the heavier they're starting to actually lean towards that. That's what I mean by I'm worried about it. I'm not worried about them doing it. Like, as long as they make it viable for everyone that's still involved, fair enough. But it's a slippery slope. But past that, I don't actually think they're going to spend too much time on hardware. I think they'll go, here's the Xbox Slim. That other thing was fucking massive. We're no longer selling the fucking massive thing. You can buy this one, and it's the same price as the big massive thing. And that's it. And if they do even allude to the Project Scorpio stuff,
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either. I think next year. I think that's got a year out. And if the specs are to be believed, they'll be confident leaving it a year out, because then they can come out and go, you want to put a console in your living room and you're really, really flustered about having the best performing piece of hardware. Here it is. It supports Oculus Rift. It supports all of your Xbox One games. It's backwards compatible with the 360 library that we've made backwards compatible. It's future-proof with our next generation of console hardware. Fine. There's no mixed messaging. And you're then also coming up on 5 years by then that we've been in this console life cycle. Yeah. So more viable.
Yeah.
It's why I think, as we were talking to, why Sony have removed Neo from any talk at E3. It's a similar kind of thing. But on the games front, so we've got, as you said, Chunt, Recore, Crackdown, Gears. Scalebound, no. I don't think we'll see it. I think it might be, we might, Gamescom when we'll get some gameplay. But I think it'll be in like a sizzle reel or something, but I don't think we'll actually see it. We Happy Few, it'll be the showcase title for Idea Xbox, I think, because there's always one that they kind of focus on. And it's usually one that's coming very soon. And I think there'll be a lot more patches.
Cuphead, man.
Cuphead, yeah. When the fuck are we getting Cuphead?
Now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been coming out for a while.
It has to get a date, right? It needs
a date.
Because I'll have a little.
As far as like COD.
Yeah, the Idea Xbox section. It'll get some showcase, and it'll be pretty cool. I am keen for new IP. Give us 2 new ones, and I think everybody walks away happy. Halo Wars 2 will get some show. Not keen. Didn't enjoy the first one. Played it for about 7 minutes. It's not a Halo game as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to play a real-time strategy Halo game. So it's just a RTS with Halo paint as far as I'm concerned. Being time conscious.
I'm not an RTS player myself.
Ubisoft. They are slap bang in the middle of Tuesday's things for, Monday in America, Tuesday here. They've already shown us Watch Dogs.
Yep.
They've already told us we're not going to see Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
They've already told us we're going to see Division DLC. What else have they already told us? What else have they got to surprise us with?
Well, we'll have
Raving Rabbids.
What was that?
Rabbids.
Raving Rabbit. Wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands stuff.
Fuck off, Tom Clancy.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I could almost have a Tom Clancy section, but because there'll be something about Division, surely.
Yep.
Yeah. Do we think Splinter Cell?
No. I think they have DLC for Rainbow Six. They have DLC for The Division. And they have more fucking gameplay for Wildlands, which I don't even want to see because they're all much of a muchness. All 3 games are military shooter based, you know what I mean, in one way, shape or form. I don't think you show too much of either. If you show too much of The Division or Wildlands, I think they look and play
look like they play far too similarly to spend way too long on one and then kind of segue into another. But
Wildlands looks similar to like a Battlefield in terms of they're showing that you can get into planes and
yeah,
like
it's
that.
got like a hell of a lot more emerging gameplay. Like that's a big focus for it. But I just hope they don't. What I mean is in grouping them together. I don't want them to have a Tom Clancy section, because by the time you get through that Tom Clancy section, you kind of go, well, that all looked a bit the same. They need to space it out, and they've got some cool shit to space it out with. For Honor will get ample time. It won like Game of Show for so many outlets last year, and I don't see how they don't take that acclaim and go, now we're going to spend lots of time talking to you about it.
But I feel like that was based on a lot of people that played it at the show.
Yeah.
Because when I saw it, I was like, that's interesting, but it didn't stick with me.
Looks like Rise.
After I saw it. So I think that was more by people that played it at the show that were excited for it, rather than people that were just watching it.
Yeah. And South Park.
Yeah, that'll be
gameplay
release date
and release date. And I think the only reason they didn't say anything re-time scale last year was because of the hell development that Stick of Truth had. So I think they come back full of confidence this year. Like, look, we've pretty much got everything. I think we might even see it this year. It's either this year or it'll be before E3 next year. It'll be that same May time slot that Stick of Truth had.
Do you reckon they're going to bring the first one over?
It already is. It's backwards compatible.
Yeah, it's backwards compatible on Xbox One at least.
So you reckon they won't touch it?
They won't touch a definitive edition. They wouldn't have let them do that if they were going to do a definitive edition. That's how you can kind of tell who Microsoft's getting in the pocket with these things, because I think it's the main reason we've only got Mass Effect 1 backwards compatible. I think they might. It's been rumored for ages, hasn't it? I don't see a reason not to go next E3. Oh, Andromeda's coming out in fall. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if it gets pushed again. It's coming out in the fall, but to tide you over to then play through the first trilogy.
That'll be
on
interesting.
Xbox One and PlayStation.
That'll be interesting if they say
we might even get that now.
Mass Effect's not coming next year, but hey, we've got the trilogy coming out in September.
Yeah,
as a collection.
That might happen this year. That might they might do that. They might go, yeah, look, we know people are disappointed it's not coming this year. We need time to do this, but to keep you going here.
Anyway, back to Ubisoft.
Back to Ubisoft. South Park, the sort of torrid time they had with the first one, I think they come full of confidence. We may see it this year. We may see it early next year, but can't be far off. They had the engine built.
My problem with Ubisoft's conference last year was every game you
saw... The god-awful host.
No, every game you saw was online multiplayer. Like you said before.
For Honor.
With Rainbow Six and Division and all that. All of them were showing off online multiplayer.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see one single-player game in there, especially that we're not getting Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. South Park. Yeah. Watch Dogs.
Well, Watch Dogs might do that. But
I want to
have a multiplayer component, but I think it's heavily going to be focused on the single-player game.
I want to see a rebooted Prince of Persia.
I don't care for it. It'd be cool. It'd be cool for people who do care for it,
like me.
I think Assassin's Creed sells so much better than Prince of Persia, and
they were practically one and the same, right? Like the whole movement systems, the parkour kind of elements. It'd be I have heard other people say that, like, what if Prince of Persia is the reason that they've been confident to not have an Assassin's Creed this year, but Watch Dogs is the reason they haven't got Assassin's Creed this year.
Yeah, Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, I feel like they're going to start alternating years.
And it makes sense to do that, because then you kind of don't get burnt out on them. If it's every 2 years I'm playing an Assassin's Creed game, if it's every 2 years that I'm playing a Watch Dogs game, fine.
Yeah.
If it's every year, 1, the quality of the game starts to get shit. 2, you're burnt out on it. 3, you're still paying money for something. So I see nobody winning there except Ubisoft. The customer does not win at all. So yeah, I'm totally fine with all that. I think we'll see that VR thing they're doing with PlayStation, that Eagle Flight.
They'll probably say that for Sony, because that'll just be a small part of.
Yeah, unless it does have depth to it and they actually want to give it some showcase time. But Yeah, Ubisoft will be an interesting one. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get maybe a Rabbids or a Rayman.
Just Dance.
Beyond Evil.
Oh, fuck Just Dance. I thought they'd finished Just Dance. I thought it was done. I know that the last one never actually went to disc. Like, they just put it up as a digital download. And they did it on the quiet and was like, oh, yeah, you can play that if you want to. Like, it got no marketing or anything this last iteration. So, yeah, it'd be super interesting to see. Rayman, totally possible. When did Legends come out? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
It's a small title that's well within their remit of doing. I hope we do see something littler, like, you know, when they did Child of Light.
I was going to say Child of Light.
Like push, not an indie, but push like a small, small RPG. That was a really quality game, and it went everywhere, didn't it? Vita, PS3, Xbox 360. That's what I mean. They have to have other things to talk about. You can get Matt Stone and Trey Parker out to talk South Park for half an hour. You can bring the Watch Dogs team out to go on for 45 minutes about Watch Dogs. You can show Wildlands for half an hour. You can do 20 minutes of Division DLC. But
they need to get something else, man. Like, all they've got is either it's a Tom Clancy game or Assassin's Creed. Like, I know they're trying to do Watch Dogs and make that a thing now, but what other games do they really do that they can showcase every year without trying to push another IP that is just like yawn, groan, another Tom Clancy game? Like For Honor, I know they're trying to push that one, but that doesn't interest me in the slightest. And I've heard a lot of rumblings on the internet. People are just like, meh, like, I didn't ask for that kind of game, but okay. They don't really seem to have much to offer. And I kind of pass over their conference. I don't really watch it. Plus, Aisha Tyler just really grates my ass. I just can't stand her.
I'm 100% with you. I can't stand the woman. She is enthusiastic about an industry she pretends to give a shit about, and clearly doesn't have a fucking clue about, as proved last year when she was trying to get people in the audience involved, and they were just like, fuck off back on stage, woman. Like, why are you out of my seat talking to me, you lunatic? But I know what you're saying, but For Honor is different to an Assassin's Creed. It is different to a Watch Dogs. South Park is, by and large, the best thing they purchased. Like, to have that as a thing, and it was so successful. So they've got stuff, but I hope they do new stuff too. We'll see.
Man,
like you said, Chunt,
just as a side note, man, that Prince of Persia game that they did, where Nolan North voiced the main dude, and you had that chick that would save you from falling to your death every now and then. It was like real cel shaded. It wasn't like a traditional Prince of Persia, but it was a real platform heavy game. I actually loved that game. Like, I thought that was great. Like, it was just a lot of fun, and you had to fight the shadows and that kind of stuff. Shadow creatures or whatever it was.
It was a reboot, wasn't it? It was just when they redid Prince of Persia.
Yeah, and like, I thought, sweet, like, this is fresh. That's cool. It's nice. It's pretty to look at, and the character interactions between the two are great. And we didn't get another one, and I was like, shit.
That's because Jake Gyllenhaal did a film that died on its arse, and they killed it. They just killed.
Yeah.
And they're going to do the same.
True.
He's going to star in and direct a Division movie, and then
but like that's the last fresh game that Ubisoft has done that's made me kind of go, cool, another Ubisoft game. Like that to me personally, that's the last game that they've done that's made me go, okay, I'm going to take notice of this one. Otherwise, it's just another Tom Clancy game.
Yeah, I hope we do see a bit of variety from that. I think we will. So moving into Sony, they finish the day tomorrow, right?
Yes. 11 a.m.
Yep, they're the ones that are on a reasonable hour.
Dan, take the floor. Sony.
Yeah, I took the Xbox floor. You guys can go with this one.
You know what? I'm really keen for PlayStation this year because I'm sick of having one sat under my TV that I don't turn on unless you're here. When you're here, and that's not a lie. But we know that Persona's coming in February now. It's got a date.
Yeah.
We will see it. It has to be shown.
Yep.
I think Final Fantasy gets a big push on Sony's press conference.
Yes.
Hopefully not 7, because stop making people believe in false dreams. We definitely see Detroit, and it gets a showcase piece. I think it's getting 20, 30 minutes of David Cage stood on stage talking about how good he is, and why this best cinematic experience you'll ever have in your life. And you know what? If they've learned from their mistakes with Beyond and they go back to what worked well with Heavy Rain, Cool.
I think we see a release window, no release date.
I think we might get a date. I think it's a lot closer than people think it is. We were talking about that the other day. What else have they got coming? Last Guardian. Yeah, you have to get that out this year.
Yeah,
there's no way it
It's
can't.
going to be a bit of a joke.
Exactly. And if it doesn't meet this year, it then becomes a joke that people stop caring about. I think it's had its last kind of hand.
Because what are you going to say? Like, oh, we need some time to polish it up?
Yeah. What have you been doing for the last 3 years?
So it's and I'm quite happy for them to move Horizon as they did and be just make.
But they've moved that to February, right?
February 28th.
So Persona is 2 weeks before.
Yeah, but they're different audiences.
They're different audiences, but well, for me, I'm the same
Yeah.
audience. I'd play both of them. I'm really, really keen for
See, I would
Horizon.
play Horizon. I wouldn't play Persona.
Do not, under any circumstances, Sony, do not show No Man's Sky.
I don't think that.
Let it
It's coming out.
be.
Yeah.
Have it in the sizzle reel.
Yeah, put it in the sizzle reel. Do not get poor Sean Murray
Yeah.
out on stage because
Yeah.
that guy needs a break.
Yeah, poor
right?
guy. Bloody hell.
Someone needs to give the guy a break. What else have they got coming? There's the rumors about Crash Bandicoot.
There's a big question. Big question, guys. Just to pull it back a little bit. Shenmue. Come on. I mean, we all want this game, don't we? We want to know more about this. Shenmue 3. Come on.
Did they not kickstart that last year?
Sarcasm included.
They're probably working on it. And
If it's far enough into development, I see no reason you don't see it.
Yeah.
But Crash Bandicoot is the other big rumor. And the rumors are circling and circling and circling. But apparently the only viable truth behind any of it is that Crash Bandicoot will become a Skylander.
I mean,
What the fuck?
with Activision lately, right?
This is
Call
what
of
I mean.
Duty,
Like they are
Bungie and Activision with Destiny. Like they obviously have a good relationship with Activision. I don't know about that. Like
I don't want that to happen. I'm saying this is a fucking bad thing. Give me a Crash Bandicoot video game if you're going to give Crash. Or do a Crash collection or some weird shit like that. Do not, under any circumstances, put him in Skylanders. But we saw what, I know this was Microsoft and it was a different thing, but everybody was crying for Conker, right? And what did they do? They put him in Project fucking Spark, which has, by the way, been continued. For those of you that didn't know, it's... But this is
what
what
a fucking balls up.
Crash, because Crash to me has meaning. I played Crash as a child. Like, I don't want to see him come back in some like Toys to Life form. I'd rather see him come back as Crash Bandicoot in a Crash Bandicoot game.
maybe they do an updated version. I don't know. I'm not actually like. That's one of the ones least down on my list, worrying about at the moment. My big thing is a lot of people are trying, because Sony have many first-party studios, right? And everyone is wanting to know what every single one of them are doing. And I think some people are going to be disappointed, and some of those studios aren't going to say what they're doing. I think the biggest chance we have is knowing what Santa Monica are doing, which is probably God of War. If the rumors are to be true, it's that Norse mythology.
That's going to happen.
Instead of
We're going to see the Gears of War game. I mean, that'd be stupid for them not to show that.
Yeah, and I think they will do that, but I don't think we'll see anything from Sucker Punch, who did the infamous games.
I think they might be there.
I don't think Sony Bend will show their game, which the last thing they did was Uncharted on the Vita, which was 2011.
So what have they been doing for the last 5 years?
So I don't think we're actually going to get those two studios. We know.
So where do you show them?
PSX.
Do you think that they're that far away?
I think if you've got God of War coming, my theory is you got Last Guardian at the end of this year. You have Horizon the start of next year.
Detroit.
I think Detroit middle of next year, and then by PSX you can announce God of War will announce God of War now. God of War will be the end of next year. There's no point in telling us what Sony Bend and Sucker Punch are doing, because that's too many to release next year. You need to save something for next year, E3.
Do you think they're actually going to have games to come out this holiday?
Well, they didn't have games last holiday, and they sold well. Apart from Last Guardian,
I know. I'm just like,
smaller.
like,
They'll have small stuff. None from their first party. Maybe there's a second party studio game I'm not thinking of off the top of my head.
I just want to start seeing their exclusives coming out instead of being delayed all the time.
The Gran Turismo is coming out as well, which will sell a heap. It always sells a lot. It's the highest selling Sony game of all time, each generation. So Gran Turismo will come out. Not exciting for me, but it excites a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's a first party thing.
Yeah,
but I'm so happy they've taken the Neo out, and I know that even for us sat talking about it now, it means we don't have to spend 20 minutes talking about what the ramifications of doing this are. But like they'd said, Andrew House said, we don't have the games to show for it. That's cool.
Yeah.
So good. And I think that might play into what you're saying about like God of War and these things that are not like currently in the polishing stages of development. The things like maybe like a Detroit or like Horizon. These games are coming soon.
Yeah.
But those games that are that further window, that further year out, that are probably going to have some kind of being built purpose for Neo that can backscale to the original PS4. It makes much more sense. They've got an absolute monster lineup of video games to send out.
Yeah.
And we are forgetting. Do you think Bloodborne's done? The From Software show up? Dark Souls 3's kind of had its time.
From Software have said that they're done with the
Dark Souls.
I think they'll go quiet for a while.
But Bloodborne's owned by Sony. It's not owned by.
It is, but they worked on it. Like they worked on 3 Souls games and Bloodborne. I think they want to try some other stuff.
So
yeah, I read something similar. I think they said they just want to do something different next game. I think they want to go away from Bloodborne and Dark Souls and do something else.
Japan Studio is a big studio, and that would be the logical place for them to move it to. But once again, do we need a Bloodborne 2 announcement?
No, not really, because it'll still be a couple of years off, even if they do announce it.
Yeah. They need to not, people are always talking about what's coming. Show us what's coming, but don't do a No Man's Sky, don't do a Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Keep it within.
Which we have to just roll back and give credit to Ubisoft for this time. They show until E3 week of Watch Dogs 2, and it's coming out this year.
Yeah, done.
Lesson learned, well done.
Which looks like a lot in that game.
So a lot of Sony's time has to be taken up, and literally this year has to be taken up by PlayStation VR. You have to give people reason to want to buy it, because I do not buy what they showed at PSX last year. We both sat after watching that, and we recorded a podcast.
I think I picked 2 games out of that whole lineup.
And when it finished, because that was something that we got up at the stupid hours of the mornings to watch as well. And it was like that was fucking underwhelming. Back to bed. They did not show in the best light they could have done. They need to do that this time. And hopefully a lot of these things because what is there, 109 games or something that should be out by the end of this year?
Yeah, or in development, 120 in development or something.
So there's obviously things they want to show. I think you have to show a AAA experience, something that is going to have longevity, something that's not just that I'm going to put this on and play it for 10 minutes.
Dreams.
Fun. Fuck Dreams. We ain't giving we're not giving Dreams any airtime, because Media Molecule have their heads so far up their asses that they think that this is still going to be a buy.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a very good game, but no one will buy it.
No, and nobody cares, because that's not the type of game that people want. Yes, okay, utilize what you learned with Little Big Planet, but Little Big Planet was the thing 10 years ago on the PlayStation 3. It's not what people are playing or what people are doing now. And they're so talented. Like, they're a great studio, and they've been lumbered with this game we saw this before we saw the PS4, right? We saw it the E3 before they even started talking about it.
I think we'll that'll be a game that will come out in March next year, like a month after Horizon. Kind of what they did with like The Order and Bloodborne. Like they chucked The Order very close to.
It'll come out as a wet fart, and nobody will play it.
But yeah, VR. They'll show a lot of it. We'll see what they do. I don't know how you show off VR on stage. I still don't think anyone's really done it the right way.
but you can still tease with trailers properly. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the way they did. What's the game that's on Oculus? Not Edge of Nowhere. The other one. It's like an action adventure kind of Zelda-y dungeon game. Can't remember what it's called now, but I really want to play it. But they showed that, and it's like the game actually has mechanics, and it can show you how the camera would move if it was your head in there. There's ways of presenting a trailer. There's no way of presenting gameplay without having that weird, like, crippled screen effect where it looks like you're looking through two glass doors on someone's monitor, and that's no way to try and show off technology. I just think they've got to have something to kill it with. And if they do come out and they go, you all wanted to play Crash Bandicoot, how about playing Crash Bandicoot in VR?
Yeah.
Yay.
I don't think they're going to. I think they're banking on Rick's being that, honestly.
Trying to capitalize on that first person shooting us.
Yeah, I think that's what they're holding on to. I don't think they'll. It'd be insane if they managed to keep this big AAA VR experience hidden from
anyone,
whatever studios they have. Because I think London Studios working on.
They're doing the heist thing, which is basically
There's a new London studio that opened up recently, but they haven't been around long enough to be able to do work on something like that. So
no, they I don't think they've got too much to offer with it. But is it Mr. Robinson's Big Adventure or whatever the hell it's called, the dinosaur thing? That looks pretty good.
That looks interesting. Want to see gameplay? I saw gameplay last year sometime, but all it was someone standing in the spot with a dinosaur coming up and like sniffing you. So I hope there's more.
That's what I mean. I hope because it's been built in CryEngine and it's a good engine and it looks pretty.
Yeah.
But what they do have to do on the hardware front, just circling back a little bit, and while we're talking about VR, it has to be shown how it's going to look on a stock PS4. They have to do something to reassure people because all of the rumors that are coming out of this new boosted hardware is to make the VR run better. Because developers are coming out and going, it runs like shit and it is disorienting and it is not comfortable for the bigger experiences. Yes, the kind of low end ones that are kind of sort of proof of concept or demo are doing fine, but those bigger experiences where it's chugging, that'd be really uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know how prone you are to motion sickness, but
yeah, I do pretty well, but don't rely on me as being the target. My only thing would be with that, because we know there's a little processor unit that comes with the VR headset.
It's doing post-processing.
And it's going to be really difficult to convince people without mentioning the Neo.
Yeah.
Like trying to not do a direct comparison. Yeah. What do you think, Chunt?
Well, yeah, I think if they're going to show VR, they have to, as Jamie was saying, they have to demonstrate how VR works on the current PS4 platform. I think that would be very underhanded and sneaky for them to do demonstrations on stage where they're actually running a Neo backstage or just a computer or something hidden somewhere. I think they need to sell it as if this is running on your current PS4. This is how it'll work. It just seems fair, and it seems like it'd be the right thing to do for your potential consumers of this product, to show them exactly how it's going to work on their console that sold how many now? 80 million or 120 billion consoles. If you have that install base, you don't want to cheat them out on saying this is how it runs when it actually doesn't. So yeah, I think they really need to be clear with their messaging on that one. And just say what the difference will be with. They're not going to, like, as we've already covered, they're not going to talk or bring up or show the Neo or anything like that. So they have to find a way to say it without saying it, and make everybody feel comfortable about being an early adopter for VR on their current PlayStation. I'm very keen to see how they go around that. Really keen. But yeah, man, PlayStation conference, new IPs, cool. I want to see God of War. I'm interested on VR. That's pretty much me. Like the last showings that you guys have spoken of, I watched as well, and there's a few games that I'm interested in, but nothing that's really kind of made me want to buy a PS4 yet. If they do, God of War, man, holy shit, that's what made me buy a PS3. So this could be the game that makes me want to throw down money for another PlayStation console. So I'm keen to see how that goes. But yeah, that's all I'm really looking out for.
So speaking of new IP, any thoughts? What do you want to see from them? What would you play? This is your platform. So when we sit there and go, if there was a new IP to come to Xbox, the type of game we'd maybe want, or the type of franchise we want them to try and pick up, what do you think they may be going for? Think about the catalog they have and what are they really missing?
Well, this is going back to those first parties, right? For Sony.
Yeah.
I think that rumor that was back a couple of months ago about the Sucker Punch working on the Spider-Man game.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
If they're working on that, like, say, what Rocksteady did with an Arkham, like just making their own Spider-Man game, because Activision had the rights for Spider-Man for years, and now apparently they've gone back to Sony.
Yep.
So Sony own them, so that would be a PlayStation-only Spider-Man game, and this is a character that, in terms of merchandise, sells more than any superhero in the world. That would be huge. They can figure that out. They've worked on Infamous. They've worked on superhero games before.
And the mechanics of Infamous work.
Yeah,
the kind of the leaping around the city and that kind of thing.
My thing with Infamous was a great game. Second Son, so the one that came out for this generation. It plays really well, but just everything surrounding it, like the story in that, is not that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was mechanically really well. Like, it's a good game to review in terms of mechanics, but there's nothing that it's not memorable. It didn't make me want to go back. So I trust them to make a good game.
Did you play the DLC for it? Because that was supposed to be really good.
No, I didn't play the first Light DLC. But you get them, yeah. I know what they would have given you with, what was her name? The chick that was...
The purple head chick.
Yeah. So that sounds enticing. But once again, I hope they don't do anything like that.
Yeah, unless it's fucking close.
Yeah.
Save something for somewhere else. Yeah. And that's the conferences pretty much covered. There is Nintendo.
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
I'd like to add, if I may interrupt. One exclusive. This is going back a while. One PlayStation exclusive that I'd love to see brought back is Bushido Blade. I used to play that quite often on the PS1. So if they brought that back as either a VR experience or just another new game, that would get me excited. I don't know if many people these days have actually played that, or you might have to check out what that is. But it's very kind of slow. It's a very concentrated game. It's kind of like one hit kill. You got to be careful how you play it. But man, yeah, I used to love that game. Sorry, it just occurred to me when you guys were talking about
Dark Souls.
Sorry, what?
Have you played Dark Souls?
No, but
I'm
not interested. Not interested. I like the whole samurai concept and the silence of battle on that one. It just interests me. It's very kind of precise, legit stuff. Not getting my ass raped by monsters constantly.
That sounds painful. Speaking of painful things, Nintendo.
Get off.
Right. So they actually started by saying, "Hi everybody, we're Nintendo. We have a machine coming out very soon, but we're not going to show you it at E3. All we're going to show you at E3 is Zelda." Cool. People seemed happy with that. They were like, "Fine, if you're not ready to, fuck off. Yes, we'll see Zelda. Thank you."
Aren't they doing like a massive marathon of just playing Zelda?
They were, and now they've backtracked and said that they are going to show Pokemon Go, Pokemon Sun and Moon, a Monster Hunter game, and Zelda, among other titles. So it sounds like they have completely 180'd on this whole thing and gone, no, let's go a different way and let's actually show the shit that we've been working on. Pokemon Sun and Moon, there's no way you don't show that. You bring that to E3 because we haven't seen enough of it yet. And it was announced prior to E3. So maybe when they first said, "Oh, we're only showing Zelda," Sun and Moon hadn't been announced yet. Fine. Pokemon Go has been a thing since last year. It'd be cool to actually see a bit more about what it's going to do, because I think it's just going to be a monetization hellhole and full of microtransactions, mobile gaming bullshit. So you have to kind of off balance that with, but we still have a core Pokemon title for you to play. And, you know, Monster Hunter does well on 3DS. So I don't think it's dead by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think the 3DS is, I think this will be its swan song. I think the Pokemon game will be its sayonara, so to speak. But they can't show anything else for Wii U. So they literally have to lean on Zelda, right? They have to go, we're not bringing anything else out on the Wii U because why? We have to stack for NX. Do we think there's an outside chance that we see something? And I'm not talking about they come on, they go out into their treehouse and show you what it fucking looks like. That's not going to happen. But do we see some weird kind of concept or 5-second teaser trailer where the NX is there?
Not at E3. I think they'll release their own video during E3, just online, just put it out like they're one of the directs. I think they just might do something like that.
Yeah, they are. They're doing the treehouse. They're still doing it. All they're doing is Zelda. And
when's TGS?
September. It's one of the last ones.
I'm trying to think if they would say
if even that's
another thing.
Yeah. Well, they've said later in the year, haven't they? So who knows what we see from that? I am keen to see Zelda. Why would you not be keen to see Zelda? Like,
well, to be honest, I'd just like to see them just be quiet and just go away for a while until they're actually ready to show stuff.
But I think they have done that.
Yeah,
I think they have gone away for a while now, and I think it's
no.
now.
I mean, like, just go away, just disappear, and just shut off stuff, and just when it's E3 next year, get all your ducks in a row, and just smack everybody over the head with it, and go, look, Nintendo is back with our new shit. Just stop showing anything, and just get everything lined up for next year. And make sure you've got your stuff in line. I don't want to see them like trickling stuff. I don't want to see your false promises. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to have anything confirmed. I just want them to be like, okay, it's like a month out from E3. We're going to be showing some awesome stuff, and be prepared. That's what I want from Nintendo.
I'm quite interested on why they've kind of shuttered though. It was a very last-minute decision, I think, to kind of go, oh, bollocks, we can't show the NX now.
Especially when there's rumors about it's being produced and made.
Yeah, like it exists.
Yeah.
Like, so why show it? It's interesting, which is why I thought, what if we do see a little bit of, even if it is literally, like...
Do you think they save it for a month and do a whole thing and launch it on their own? That way, like, to get out of the... the headline grabbers of E3, and wait a month and go, all right, we're doing our own thing. Here it is, and then they do a Nintendo Direct especially for it, and they get everything to themselves and not have to compete with headlines from everyone else.
I'd like to see that.
I agree. So would I. I just want to know what it is, because all the weird rumors that surround it. You know what Nintendo are like. It's never what anybody think it's going to be.
Well, how about this? How about earlier on this year, they were saying there's reports saying that they're making the handheld portion of the NX in production already, and they might actually have that half out this year and the actual console out next year. What if one of their announcements this year is the actual handheld portion and you can play 3DS games on it? Because there was that rumor going around that they might be going to not a cartridge-based distribution type style, but like a more of a, wouldn't surprise me if it's like a proprietary SD format or something of like a flash card to put your games on. So instead of being distributed as discs, they might just go back to their I'm going to call them cartridges, even though it's not a cartridge, but and going that route, because you can put like, you can get little cards that can fit like more than a Blu-ray disc can on it. It wouldn't surprise me if they go down that route, and the actual handheld portion of the NX, you can put cartridges in it, and it's backwards compatible with 3DS cards as well. It wouldn't surprise me. And if like Sun and Moon could be bundled with it, I don't know.
The thing is, like, they need third-party support, right?
Yeah.
And if you do what like you're saying, Chunt. Like, I don't know how you're going to get Mass Effect 4 on that system.
You're not. You just straight up can't.
So unless there's a download to a box of some kind, which is just plugged into the TV just for those type of stuff.
Well, not directly on the handheld, but they were saying like those earlier reports this year about the handheld half of it, because they keep saying it's a hybrid of something. So what if that like handheld part comes out and the actual console, which does all the massive like processing and graphical nonsense, that you could play the actual new releases and stuff on it? Like, do you buy the console separately or something? That's just what the reports have been saying all year of what might be happening. And if that is the case, if that's something to be looking forward to as a legit rumor, you could potentially have, okay, this handheld thing will be replacing the 3DS as far as what their lineup is, and the actual console is what their next console is, but they both work together, and then you could use the controller with the console and get all your new game experiences like Mass Effect on it. You just need the console to play it, because you can get like those SD cards that have like 128 gig or whatever on it instead of a Blu-ray disc. I think the potentials is there, and they're crazy enough to do it because they always do their own thing. It just really wouldn't surprise me if that's what they come out with.
What about if there is no disc-based games and it's all download or online?
Then it has to have a serious amount of storage in something handheld, which doesn't make any sense.
Storage is not expensive these days.
It's not that it's expensive.
That's what I'm saying. Like they might not have discs. They might just have an SD card type thing for a physical release. You just get the game on a little disc.
Tell us and show us what it is. Like, the speculation's been going on for long. It was 2 years ago, was it not, when they were like, Nintendo is committed to the future of like console gaming, and its project name is NX. It's been long enough. Like, if you've got it ready to go, you've got it ready to go. Like, I don't know. It'll be funny to see what they do. Before we wrap up, Square Enix, they have a lot happening. They're not having a conference. They don't need it. They're going to have games playable on the show floor. Fine. Final Fantasy, we've said, gets pushed at PlayStation. Do we see anything from any of their other properties? Do we see something Sony related for Tomb Raider?
Oh, they might. I don't know how much they want to push Tomb Raider to coming to PS4, because that won't be till November also. November, December release. And I don't think they've still got to deal with it. They've still got to deal with Microsoft.
Yeah,
they don't say anything.
I don't think that's something you would announce at E3.
Kingdom Hearts?
Too early.
No.
Final Fantasy 7?
Sizzle reel. Nothing new. I don't think.
Anything new from them?
Wait till PSX. I think you wait till PSX to talk about
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, probably PSX. I would agree.
And
they have a lot of playable stuff there, but I don't think a lot's going to be touched on.
So the last ones would probably be who's been tipped to show something. Capcom?
Maybe some
Mega Man.
Mega Man, yeah. I think there may be Mega Man. I don't know where you put Mega Man, because I'd probably be akin to give it to Nintendo.
That might just be something that comes out during the day.
Wouldn't surprise me if they're like, we're going to do a Mega Man game. Fuck you, Mighty Number 9. We're going to do this to spite you.
And we get it out before Mighty Number 9.
Before, yeah.
A movie from an animated movie or something.
TV series.
TV series. Yeah.
So I think we see something like that. There was the
once again, maybe wait for Gamescom, TGS.
Dead Rising. That's been leaked.
Yeah.
Probably a thing. Who else might have something? There's rumors that Namco will be there, maybe doing something with Soul Calibur. Tekken 7, we definitely see. It's been on its arcade platform for long enough now. It's coming to consoles. And I think that they announced it's not a PlayStation exclusive. I think Street Fighter was the lesson learned there.
Yes.
They won't do that with Tekken. Tekken will come to everything, maybe not PC, but it'll definitely come to Xbox and PlayStation. The last two have.
I think we'll go to PC.
It should go to PC, but the last ones haven't.
Yeah, but I think they know with that audience,
the fighting game community.
The fighting game community, you have to have it at least on PC.
So there's plenty of things.
Injustice 2.
Well, that's already confirmed. But where do we see it is the question, because I still think that allegiance runs deep with PlayStation from the first Injustice. I think we maybe see something there. But we've already seen a gameplay reveal. We've seen a gameplay trailer. We've seen a cinematic. Like, maybe
Give it to me now.
But there's plenty to be answered. We've talked for plenty long enough. It's 10 p.m. on a Sunday evening. And
we have to get up.
And I can see my own eyes in the screen in front of me, and I look very tired, which is mildly concerning too. But Chunt, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us late of a Sunday evening to talk about what's going to happen.
That's all right. Yep, no, I'm happy to be here.
But we'll wake you up tomorrow.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll be up at 5:30 anyway to get ready for work. So you know,
why are you working tomorrow? It's a public fucking holiday.
Not in Queensland. It got moved to October. So
Why?
some stupid reason the Queen's birthday got. Yeah, I don't know. We're all like, what the fuck? Like the rest of Australia gets it off, but we don't.
How many birthdays does she get to have?
Well, apparently Queensland can fucking move it to whenever they want it to be. So
yeah, I don't know.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us, mate. We're gonna go relax,
Right.
or we do more of this shit tomorrow. I'm very excited. Not far away now. Let's have some video game Christmasage, and we'll see you throughout the week.
Well, enjoy it in my stead.
I'm sure we will, and I'm sure we'll speak again.
Indeed.